for the Dolphins being the Dolphins, it's painful because you know that the hopes is that they're going to be better. On paper right now, they look pretty good. To me, they look like a 10 to 11 win team and a playoff team. I don't think they're a division winner. I think they're a wild card, but that could easily change very easily with a couple of injuries like they had. They're one of the more injury prone teams out there, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the heat, it's their training. I don't know what it is, and I think the Dolphins lack one other thing that they desperately need is tough leadership. I don't think they have it. I don't think McDaniel's that guy. He's more
McDaniel's the fun
guy.
uncle.
Yeah. And I think they need there has to be that somewhere. And I don't know who that guy is. Brian Flores was too much of the military type. That didn't pan out well. But I think like when you think of guys, I think like an Andy Reid. Very tough, but it's relaxed. But everybody knows they got to do their job. That's what worries me about McDaniel. I think he's a great offensive mind. I just don't think there's any leadership there.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Beard Zone Sports Talk. My name is David. I got Carlos with me tonight, as always, and we are going to continue our way too early predictions. We're down to our final two divisions. We're going to be dealing with the AFC East. I know Carlos is excited to dive into this with his Miami Dolphins, and then next week we're going to be wrapping up this series and going out west for the AFC West to wrap this series up. We've really had a lot of fun with it. We always have fun each and every year. We always get a lot of this is like our busiest time of the year. We get the most engagement. It's awesome. It's fun. So, but hit that like button, hit that subscribe button to continue to follow us on this journey through this offseason into the NFL season. It's right around the corner, Carlos. We're almost there. But let's get right into it. And actually, hold on. Let's take a time out, because before we get into it, although that this isn't necessarily breaking news, Philip Rivers is now officially retired as a Charger. Come on. He has to retire a Charger. Like he has to retire a Charger. Obviously, he was with the Colts for his last stint there in the NFL. But this guy is a Charger through and through. But let's just go over this guy's resume really quick. 5th in all-time passing yards, 5th in all-time touchdown throws. He had a 64.9 completion rating, a 95.2 passer rating. And he 8-time Pro Bowl selection, comeback player of the year in 2013. You know, he's a quarterback that I wish would have won a Super Bowl, but he just never got the chance to hoist that Lombardi. But congrats to Philip Rivers finally retiring as a Charger where he should be retired.
It's crazy that this didn't happen like when he retired. Like,
yeah,
what was the holdup here? This guy he's a San Diego Charger through and through. Like, he's on kid number 14, 15 by now. So but it's crazy that it's this long. Like, I when I even think of Philip Rivers, I never think about his Colts days. It's always the Chargers, him and LaDainian Tomlinson, Antonio Gates. Like, I don't ever think about the Colts part of it. But you're right. You would have liked to have seen Philip Rivers win one. He's in that Dan Marino class of great quarterbacks that, never won one. It just shows you how hard it is to win one. Like, the guys that have multiple ones, you're like, it's impressive.
It is. It is very impressive. But yeah, definitely sucks to see him not win one. But I mean, what a fun. He was probably my favorite quarterback growing up, to be honest with you. I mean, as a Tampa fan, we didn't really have a whole lot of quarterbacks to root for here. So, I mean, we were always on kind of a rotation. But he was always the fun one, man. He had, that country accent. He always talked a lot of smack, man. And he just had a lot of fun out there on the field. Definitely a football player through and through with Philip Rivers.
He's definitely one of the best trash talkers of all time.
All time.
Yeah, all time.
All time. I loved any of his mic up moments. If you haven't watched any of Philip Rivers' mic up moments, do yourself a favor and just go and look at that up on YouTube, because it is entertainment for a few minutes. My favorite clip of him is when he throws a 90-yard touchdown pass, and I know it's 90 yards because that's what he screams. He's like, 90-yard touchdown! And it's like right next to the defensive player.
Yeah.
Come on,
He's
bro.
loving it the whole
Yeah, he's just
hating
rubbing
life.
it in the whole time. Even the ref
Yeah,
was like, "Get out of here with that, man." So, and he was like, "I'm just stating the facts. I'm not trying to rub
yeah.
it in. I just threw a 99 touchdown on your asses." So, but Philip Rivers, congrats on an absolutely incredible career, and congrats on ending the career where you should as a Charger, because that is where you started your career and that is how you're remembered. So, but Carlos, let's get into the AFC East. This division has been one that ever since Tom Brady left, it's like, everyone was like, yes, it's finally our turn, and so that's where it's been like. But the Buffalo Bills have been the team to be here in the AFC East, and so that's exactly where I want to start with them. This team, every year, they show up, they compete, they have a quarterback who is top 3 quarterback in the league. I mean, if you even want to put him in the top 2 in some arguments. MVP winner. My biggest thing with the Buffalo Bills is, why can't they get this guy any weapons? Like, it's just like, if you look at this offense, and honestly, if you look at how the Buffalo Bills play the game, Josh Allen carries that team to victory. Like, every single week, that guy carries that team to victory. They have a good defense, don't get me wrong. But Josh Allen, I mean, they don't have anybody to throw to. He has a little bit of help with Cook in the backfield. He had a 1,000-yard season last year. So, but I mean, they went out, they got Amari Cooper last year in the middle of the season. They thought maybe that was going to help. That didn't help. Now he's a free agency. I'm honestly thinking, bring in Keenan Allen. He's a free agent out there right now. He's a receiver that still produces. It's like, give this guy a little bit of help, because I still don't know how Keon Coleman is going to pan out. A lot of Buffalo Bills fans, I think that they have a lot of high hopes for him. He just doesn't have that separation in the NFL, and we kind of saw it last year. So, how do you feel about the Bills?
Oh, I feel about them. I think they suck, and I hate them. This is a great division that you truly hate the other 3 teams. So whatever team you are, you hate the other 3. There's no like, no, you just hate them. I hate the Jets, I hate Buffalo, and I hate New England. So it's, but you're right. They don't give him, he doesn't get, well, he had Stephon Diggs, so you can't, there was a time where they gave him the star receiver, and he had it, and they played well together, just something didn't mesh there between the two. But they keep just giving this guy pieces, not like Keon Coleman. I don't think is a 1 by any means. I don't think you can go to the combine or your pro day, wherever he ran a 4.65, and go, oh, he's fast on the field. No, there's a translation somewhere. But they go out and get Joshua Palmer, who's not. He's a good depth piece. You get Elijah Moore, fast as can be, but Elijah's been all over the place, and he's another good depth piece. But he's not those guys. Like, they just don't have that guy, and they have Shakir, who's another. He's a 2. They got a bunch of 2s and 3s. They don't have they need the 1, but I don't know if this is a team if you give him a 1. Like, he's had the 1, and then they went out and got Dalton Kincaid with Dawson Knox, and it was supposed to be this 2-headed tight end monster. Like, oh, nobody's going to be able to guard them, and then they get hurt all the time. So when one's hurt, the other one's healthy, and they just bounce back and forth. So, and you're right. This is Josh Allen's offense. He was at his best when Ken Dorsey, Miami Hurricane, was his quarterback coach. That's when he became the MVP. Like, he was good, but everything just runs so much through Josh Allen. Like, how he doesn't get hurt is amazing to me. Just as much as he runs, and he's all over the place. Guy's one of the strongest runners. But even their backfield, you look at James Cook. He had a good year. He had 18 touchdowns last year, had over 1,000. But it's nothing like. Is James Cook going to score 18 times again this year? No. That's not going to happen. That was an oddity for him. So, he's probably you're going to lose 10 touchdowns out of him there. So, at some point, they do have a good O-line. They have a mean O-line. They've got some guys on there that are mean, which helps out quite a bit for Josh Allen. But I still think it's the play of Josh Allen. It's so hard when we knock an MVP caliber. Like when people hear me talk about Lamar Jackson, they're like, "You're crazy. He's an MVP caliber." But is he Super Bowl caliber? Like, and is he a Super Bowl winning quarterback? And
We
Josh
just got
Allen
done
gets to.
talking about Phillip Rivers. We just got done
He is,
talking about
yeah,
Phillip
yeah.
Rivers.
And as great as
We had
Phillip Rivers' career is, there's no Super Bowl ring. Look at Dan Marino. Arguably, between his peers, the best quarterback to ever play. And this is from his peers, not from me as a Dolphin fan. He doesn't have one. But so there's that little something there that I think Josh Allen's lacking. You see him go in these big games and he blows it at the end. There's a fumble, untimely interception. Not to take anything away with the guy. I would love to see this guy in a Dolphin uniform. Love it. Don't get me wrong. I'll take my chances. But I mean, Buffalo's a good team, man. They got their defense is good. I don't know what your thoughts are on the Joey Bosa addition. I feel like the Bosa boys get hurt too much.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see how Joey Bosa, who has had a hard time staying healthy in sunny San Diego, Los Angeles now, but and now he's going to Buffalo, which the weather can be pretty brutal. So, and I mean the field conditions and everything else like that. It's a hard transition. I mean, people talk about those Monday night games that we always get in Buffalo where I mean there's always like the pregame footage where it's like the snow is coming in sideways and it's like you can barely see anything. The chill factor is like -13. It's like these guys are going to play out there. And then you always have the guys warming up with no shirts, so I mean, it's always going to happen. And of course, then you have the fans. Again, my favorite Buffalo Bills fans moment last year, I believe it was last year, where this guy up in the like third, in the upper deck poured a beer on himself and he was bald. And it like became like an ice cap. Like it almost like immediately froze to his head. So they're built different up there in Buffalo for sure. I want to say Buffalo. I feel like is becoming one of those teams where you're always rooting for them, right? There's always that.
Never.
Like, well, okay, except if you're a fan of the Miami Dolphins, but for America, right? For the majority part of America, when they're playing the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC conference, America wants to see Buffalo Bills win. America wants to see Josh Allen win. Because if you think about it, Josh Allen kind of came from an underdog story. Do you remember just a few short handful of years ago when there was rumors of them getting Cam Newton and giving up on Josh Allen because he was a bust. He wasn't going to produce anything. Could you imagine if they did that?
Could you imagine that?
Well, I know you would have loved that as a Miami Dolphins fan, but I mean, that would have killed, what we've been able to witness now in Buffalo with Josh Allen. So I'm a big Josh Allen fan. I really hope that he does get an opportunity to win a Super Bowl.
I don't think Buffalo's intended to win Super Bowls. I think they're just intended to have good records, go 4 straight years and then lose them all, or get to the AFC Championship and just lose to Mahomes. And possibly just trade their pick to Kansas City so that Kansas City can get what they need to beat them. So there's something that goes on there with Buffalo. So I don't know if they're destined to win Super Bowls.
Yeah, I don't know.
But they're in the way of the Dolphins. So, at some point, like, when does that, like, how many years do you go for Buffalo and it's just not happening? Like, the defense is going to get older. They do a good job of drafting. Landon Jackson's not, I don't know. I'm not a fan of the guy from Arkansas. Even when he came out of high school, looked goofy, but evidently, according to scouts, he's got great potential, and I think that's a terrible word to put on somebody. But at some point, they're going to age out. Milano's going to get older. They got Gregory Rousseau, who I love because he's a Miami Hurricane. But I feel like when they get Joey Bosa, it's just Von Miller 2.0. Like I feel like there's probably going to be an injury there because it's a Bosa. They're just prone to get hurt. They're freaks of nature. Don't get me wrong, but they're just prone to get hurt. So But they are kings of the division. I mean, I think they're on fifth year, maybe possibly sixth of winning this thing. They own the AFC East. I mean, ever since, like you say, Tom Brady's left,
Yeah.
they took over the helm and ain't letting go.
Yeah. And I don't see them losing this division again this year. I see them making another late playoff push. Divisional, possible conference, maybe Super Bowl. Do we get the Buffalo Bills, Detroit Lions Super Bowl that we've been hoping for the past couple of years this year? Do we finally get that?
No.
Or are we just cursed to never witness that? So, but we will find out what happens. I think that the Buffalo Bills are going to win this division. I don't see any of these other teams, really giving them a run for their money. I don't see them giving them a run for their money. So, but let's move on to your Miami Dolphins. They just got Minka Fitzpatrick back, which was crazy. They also added Darren Waller, which is a very interesting signing. I'm curious to see your thoughts on that. But McDaniels, he's been there, for a handful of seasons now, and it was really fun in the beginning, but I'm kind of getting the sense that it's getting old, right? Like everyone is starting to pick up on how to stop this offense. The Tua, Jalen Waddle kind of, dual threat with, the speed. They also got Achane in the backfield. Which he's very productive. I mean, I will say that. You have a very productive running back in him. But then you have Tua. He's one good hit away, man, from I don't know if he wants to be out there anymore. But how do you feel about your Miami Dolphins this year? Do you see playoffs this year?
Painfully agony of being a Dolphins fan. I love the Fitzpatrick. I like getting rid of Ramsey. There's probably a good chance they're going to get Russell Douglas that played for Buffalo last year, and play corner, which I'm okay with that. Ramsey comes with a lot of prima donna, but Fitzpatrick's a huge upgrade for them at safety. When we traded him, it was part of this steamroll of trades that we did, which worked out. But man, I think that's big to get him back there. The guy plays strong against the run and the pass, and they did well with Kenny Grant with signing, but they're always a victim to injury. Over the last year they used Jalen Phillips and Chubb, and then we get to see the emergence of Chop Robinson. But they got to stay healthy, like you say with Tua. I like Tua. If Tua could literally, I was talking with somebody else about this. If Tua could throw the ball 10 yards further, just 10, no matter what everybody says, he is an elite quarterback. The guy can throw any throw in any tight window. Man, I'm telling you, but it's proven when he's healthy.
Hold on, Carlos.
When he's healthy, look at his stats. He's one of the top 3 quarterbacks.
You're putting Tua in top 3 quarterback talk.
If he could throw the ball 10 yards further, that's it.
If Jameis Winston didn't throw 30 interceptions a year, he could have been a great quarterback. There's an asterisk next to every quarterback, Carlos.
There is, but I'm just saying he is. I think he's one of the better quarterbacks in the league when it comes to his passing accuracy. He throws a good ball. It's very catchable. The problem with him, one is concussions, but we can't stop that. That's just his name. It's part of his genetics, I guess. He can't take a hit. But the guy is going to probably, and I hate to say this, he's already said it, he'll die on the football field. He loves the game that much. But you're right with McDaniel. He's got this offense has to evolve a little bit. I think when you have all the pieces in play and you have that offensive line like he had in San Francisco, he has the running back stable. They have the wide receivers. I don't even hate the Darren Waller. When Darren Waller plays, he's a good tight end, and the guy's in phenomenal shape. He just ran a triathlon and came in the top 10 or something. So he's not in bad shape.
I hate to cut you off, but did you see the clip of him and Gruden going over his rap video? Dude.
No.
Dude, it was awesome. Gruden got so into it. I love John Gruden on the internet.
Yeah,
The internet
it's
era
good.
of John Gruden is fantastic, and him and Darren Waller, when they were in the same room listening to Darren Waller's music, was awesome. It was so awesome. you
He,
you gotta you gotta look it up.
yeah, they're an interesting team for me. It's going to be it's a wait and see. Like I don't know. They could literally go 7-10, or they could go 12-5. Like there's that much of a gap between this team.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is the Beard Zone. Tua is a elite quarterback, but they could go 7-10. Come
Wait.
on, man.
It's injuries.
Come on.
The last couple of years they've had big injuries.
Yeah, including
If
Tua.
Baker Mayfield goes down, what's the Bucks record? He goes down week 1. What's their record for 5-12?
Maybe if that. Yeah.
Maybe if that. So when they're losing, and that's the problem
but that's
with the Dolphins.
Quality of their backup. It doesn't show anything about the. Okay, so you're telling me right now. I'm going to ask you a question. Would you take Baker over Tua?
Well, that's a tough one.
I would say in a heartbeat.
I would take Baker. Yes.
Okay.
Only because he's not going to get injured.
So you're gonna say I'm a Tampa fan, and you're gonna say that Baker is a top 3 quarterback.
No, I said if he could throw the ball a little bit further, if they could develop him some arm, but it's not going to come. It's not going to come because if it ain't there now, it's not. But as a pure passer, Tua is better than Baker. Putting
Carlos,
the throws where they need to be.
Carlos, I'm really trying to help you out because last week you got absolutely put in a chokehold in the comments last week with the Bengals. So I don't understand. But what you're saying is Tua is a great quarterback, but here's the big asterisk. He has to improve on his arm strength. He has to improve with his health. It's like, yes, if any quarterback in the NFL improved in certain areas, they would probably move up into an elite quarterback
Yeah,
status.
but you're not. But you couldn't say that about some. If Zach Wilson could, I don't know, he could use a lot. Maybe not hang out with people's moms. He would be better. But I'm talking about just a little bit. Tua is a very good quarterback. I think he's one of the better passing quarterbacks in the league. If you go back and look at his stats when he's healthy, this guy week in and week out is putting up huge numbers. He just has to stay healthy.
Accurate.
But the Dolphins,
I will give you that.
But last year, if you look at it, they lose Chubb, they lose Phillips, they lose Waddle for part of it. Tyreek Hill has a lingering injury. They were bitten by the injury bug so much. I don't know if McDaniel could run the offense the way he runs around. When Jonnu Smith's your brightest point with A-Chain, I don't think that's a recipe for wins when Jonnu Smith's lighting up the scoreboard for them. So, but for the Dolphins being the Dolphins, it's painful because you know that the hopes is that they're going to be better. On paper right now, they look pretty good. To me, they look like a 10 to 11 win team and a playoff team. I don't think they're a division winner. I think they're a wild card, but that could easily change very easily with a couple of injuries like they had. They're one of the more injury prone teams out there, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the heat, it's their training. I don't know what it is, and I think the Dolphins lack one other thing that they desperately need is tough leadership. I don't think they have it. I don't think McDaniel's that guy. He's more
McDaniel's the fun uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think they need there has to be that somewhere. I don't know who that guy is. Brian Flores was too much of the military type. That didn't pan out well. But I think like when you think of guys, I think like an Andy Reid. Very tough, but it's relaxed. But everybody knows they got to do their job. That's what worries me about McDaniel. I think he's a great offensive mind. I just don't think there's any leadership there. And I think that could bite them in the butt. But we're going to find out. On paper, especially this defense, it's better than what I think most people are not giving them credit for. Zach Sealer is a beast at the defensive tackle. This guy's come into his own. Kenny Grant should be good. Bradley Chubb, we know what he can do. He just was out all last year. And Jalen Phillips is a freak of nature. And now we have Chop
Jalen Phillips.
Robinson.
And Chop Robinson, had like 6 sacks last year, so I mean he wasn't like super underproductive. Phillips though, man, when you guys felt it when Phillips went down.
No, he
like,
did. He puts a lot of pressure.
And you also felt losing Wilkins there in the middle.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and I think they get it back with Kenny Grant. I think Kenny Grant brings back the Wilkins part with Zach Zeeler. I'm not a huge fan of the 3-4 defense. Just not my cup of tea, and that's what they run. But a healthy Dolphins team is going to give the Bills a run for their money, I believe. I don't think the other two teams are there yet. I don't think they're that good, but they could challenge them if they're healthy. Yeah, and they have good battles. When Tua was healthy, and before he got the really bad concussion against Buffalo, those teams went back and forth, man. Those were good games. We're talking,
especially down there in Miami. So, but I mean, I guess time will tell. I actually have them going second in the division, but this next team that we're about to talk about, I think, is going to compete with them for second place in the division. That's actually the New England Patriots. I've loved their offseason so far. This team, they went out, they got Mike Vrabel. This team has been kind of finding its new identity ever since Tom Brady left, and then obviously the departure of Bill Belichick as well. Last year was the first year without Bill Belichick. They bring in Mike Vrabel now. I like Mike Vrabel. I like what he did in Tennessee, although the Tennessee Titans, the Mike Vrabel-led Tennessee Titans never got to, I think, their full potential. I think here, though, in New England, just within this first year in this offseason, I think that they're building something really great. I mean, they went out there, they got Stephon Diggs. We just talked about him. He's going to be a true number one now on that team. I think he's going to help second-year Drake May, second-year quarterback Drake May grow, continue to develop into a good quarterback. I was impressed with Drake May last year. They went out, they got Carlton Davis. They also have Christian Gonzalez, which I think is probably one of the best, young corners in the league for sure. He definitely competes with, Sauce in my head for, that young shutdown corner. And they still have a ton of cap room, so like, although the free agency pool has maybe, kind of dwindled over this offseason, they can roll this over into next year. They can make sure that they have enough money still stacked up for Drake May when it comes down to signing him. I feel like Mike Vrabel is going to do exactly what Dan Campbell did for the Detroit Lions. I think he's going to come in there. I think it's going to be a tough first year. They're going to try and get their feet wet. They're going to try and build that foundation. But once that foundation is set, I think that they can really start building off of that. And I think it's going to be like a year-over-year increase, kind of like the Detroit Lions. And I know that probably no NFL fans are ready for another successful era of the New England Patriots. So, but I foresee it, man. I think that they can definitely compete with second place for this division. I really do. I mean, the Miami Dolphins, yes, they're great on paper, but we just got done talking about it. Their injuries are going to play a big factor. Is McDaniels going to be the leader that team needs to really kind of take it to the next level, to really compete long-term, for the whole season? The New York Jets, they're in a rebuilding phase, although I like what they've done. Bringing in Aaron Glenn. They got Justin Fields, which I'm rooting for, but they're not there. They're not the competing level yet. They're laying the foundation, and New England is laying the foundation. But with Mike Vrabel, I think that they can lay it pretty quickly.
Yeah, I was thinking about these guys, and with Mike Vrabel, like in my head, I thought this would mean like for them. I feel like he's a rebuild coach, but then I got to looking at like when he was with the Titans, he really never had a quarterback. So
No.
he does have that young quarterback that I think Drake May is going to be good. How good is yet to be determined, only because of the team around him. And they get Trevion Henderson, who's had some injuries in college. He did split a workload with Junkins. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works. Like that rebuild, they're doing it right. I will say they're doing it right. They went out and got Milton Williams too as a defensive tackle. They draft Will Campbell. Like they get Howard Landry. So they're building in the right pieces. Like you said, they have money. I don't think there's anybody there they really want to spend money on the free agent pool. But Stephon Diggs isn't going to start right away. So there's that time period. We got to wait for Diggs to come back. There's not a lot of weapons around them other than that. I think Stevenson is. I think he's okay. He's been a good back for a bad team, but they are building in the right direction. Just don't know how far they're at. I don't think they're. I think them and the Jets are building. They're fighting out who's not going to finish last. I think this is I think it's like a 6-win team. I don't foresee a lot, maybe 7, depending on. I haven't honestly taken a good look at that schedule on there, but they're in a tough division. If the Dolphins are playing well, they could lose 2 games there, and then the Bills you could probably scratch that out for 2 losses as well and split with the Jets. So you already have 5 losses on the season. So I mean, they are building the right way. So we'll have to see what happens with them. But Vrabel is the guy. That is the guy that you would want there. I feel like he's tough. He's going to put in a good work ethic for everybody. Drake May should get better. He showed really good flashes last year. They had to get some O-line in there and protect this guy a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and they got an offensive line in Will Campbell, man. He gave the best draft speech that I've heard in a really long time. I am willing to die to protect that quarterback. That is the guy that you want. That's a Mike Vrabel kind of guy. And that's why I think that they're laying that foundation, because it's just like what Dan Campbell did with Detroit. It's just like what, the Philadelphia Eagles have done over the last few years. All of these great teams, they build within the trenches first. Right? They build within the trenches, and then they kind of build, different building blocks around a young, talented quarterback. So then that way they can get them into their offensive system and grow from there. But this, they got Will Campbell. They started securing up that offensive line. They got Milton Williams, who's going to be a beast there at the defensive tackle spot. So they're building the right pieces, and they're putting the right pieces there for that foundation. Me and you are at odds. I think that they could be a potential 8 to 9 win team. Like I said, just kind of depending on, how it plays out. It's tough, man. The AFC is tough. I feel like, if you get thrown in to have to pay the AFC West, or the AFC North, forget about it. That's a tough. Those are 2 tough divisions to play against. And then you have to compete within your own, which you always play tough within your division, no matter how poor it is. So I think New England can compete for second place in this division. It's going to be, we're going to find out, right? Time will always tell. I don't see them. It's going to be, it's Bills until someone knocks the head off of the Giant, which I don't foresee happening anytime soon. So, but let's go to the team who, tried their damnedest over the past couple of years. They threw everything out there. They had Aaron Rodgers. They went out. They got Devontae Adams. They really, really tried. They fired their, in my opinion, a really good head coach. So to try and appease Aaron Rodgers, it just didn't work. So the Aaron Rodgers, era in New York is over now. It is Justin Fields, which I really like that move. I know that you're not a Justin Fields guy. You're not an Ohio State quarterback kind of guy.
What has he done? Where's any of the proof?
Listen, I get it. I'm not going to call him an elite quarterback, but I do I like some of the flashes that he has shown. Now, I am worried for him. The only thing that Justin Fields has truly going for him right now is that he's 10 times more athletic than Aaron Rodgers, and he can at least run away from the pressure that he's going to have to face, with that offensive line. Because that was a big thing with Aaron Rodgers. He just constantly got hit. If your quarterback gets hit a lot, you're not going to win a lot of games. But they secured Sauce Gardner. They secured Garrett Wilson. We talked about it last week when those two signed their contracts. Definitely have young defensive player, young offensive player that can be, core pieces of your offense and defense. They brought in Aaron Glenn as their head coach now. Curious to see what he does as the defensive-minded head coach. Something that I feel like that the Jets get overlooked at is that their defense has actually been pretty decent over the last few years. I mean, a couple of years ago, they were one of the best defenses in the league. They just play really, really tough. It's just unfortunately they haven't had a quarterback, to really help them over that hump. Do I think Justin Fields is going to be that? No, probably not, especially with a defensive-minded head coach. But I think it's going to be a fun watch, I guess that I can say. They're definitely the bottom dwellers of this AFC division now.
Yeah, I think Justin Fields is garbage. I mean, he's pesky when it comes to if you got to play in defense because he runs. But I mean, I'm telling you, let me. I went to the Bucks when he was with the Bears, and I'm sitting in the end zone, front seat, so I've got nobody blocking me. And to watch him miss wide open people over the middle that are obviously breakdowns in the defense that the Bucks had for touchdowns, and everybody's just like, the Bears fans are like, "Hey, that guy's open over the middle," and not once did he ever hit the white when the defense had a bust. I just don't think he's a good quarterback. I don't think he can read defenses. He's playing off athleticism. And he's athletic enough to where he'll run. He makes it rough on you. But other than that, this guy, I don't know when he ever has shown that he can be a quarterback, a winning quarterback. I understand he had a little stint at Pittsburgh about this big, but it wasn't enough to keep him in the starting lineup. If he was doing so well, they would have been like, okay, we're going to put Russ on the bench and leave you in. But he can maybe open up some stuff for Breece Hall. Breece Hall can be very electric, but he just hasn't. I don't know. He hasn't taken away. I thought he was going to be like the next coming of CMC, but he hasn't done that. He hasn't. Like, I understand he's had a couple of injuries, and the offensive line hasn't been good. So maybe Justin Fields opened up running lanes for him because now the defense has to respect Justin Fields running. So maybe that'll help. I'm not a fan. I think, yeah, they can. I mean, that's pretty much, RPOs are, how can I say this nicely without offending half of the NFL? They're not, I don't think they're for the brightest quarterbacks. I don't. That's why they run them in high school and college, because there's not a lot to it. There's the easiest offense that you can run in high schools that you ran is the option. And it's basically like an RPO. You just got to read one guy. And if he does this, then you do that. And then hope your star wide receiver or whatever is open. So I'm not a big RPO fan. I understand that's the way the game goes now. But I think that's the only game that Justin Fields can do. And I don't know if he has enough. Garrett Wilson's – I'm a Garrett Wilson fan. But is Allen Lazard and Josh Reynolds your – sliding their guy, you're like, ooh, watch out for those two guys. Lazard was only good because of Aaron Rodgers, and Josh Reynolds only made the big play for the Detroit guy. What's his name? Why am I can't say who the Detroit Lions starting quarterback is?
Jared Goff.
Jared Goff. He always made the big play for Jared Goff on third down. That's literally his career. That he since the Rams and then the Lions, and now he's stuck with Justin Fields. So. There's talent there, though. They do have Breece Hall. I think he's good. Wilson's good. Their defense, I don't know, man. Like you said, their defense is always. Remember that prediction you had? They were going to be like 16-1, right? So, but that defense, that's all we talked about. That defense on paper was lights out. Like you couldn't do anything with it, and it literally somebody turned the lights out on them. They didn't live up to the hype, and they've lost some players. So Son Riddick's with the Bucks now. I mean, Sauce is there. They've lost some of the guys in the back end and all the way up to the front. So it's not that defense that you're like, ooh, and you look at it on paper, you're like, ooh, that's scary.
Yeah.
Now they're just a defense. You get, hey, we're not going to throw the sauce aside. We'll take advantage of the other side of the field. So I think they've lost some lackluster, but I do like Aaron Glenn. I think he's a guy who can change that. Like you said, that Dan Cable mentality can get it turned around. But I don't think that turnaround for them to take massive steps includes Justin Fields.
I think it's a Band-Aid. So, but I mean, we'll see. I'm not going to give a prediction for the New York Jets because I've learned my lesson over the last couple of years.
Come on.
So, Jets fans, if you want to bash me, just know I went to bat for you very hard over the last couple of years. I was the biggest Jets fan. I was the biggest non-Jets fan, right? Because I'm a Tampa guy, so obviously I'm going to root for them. But I was hoping for a Bucs-Jets Super Bowl for sure over the past couple of years. So I think that you guys are going to be the bottom of this division. I'll hold my prediction to my chest. I'm not going to publicly announce it this time because I put my foot in my mouth a couple of times now because of my predictions. Probably a little overzealous, I will admit.
Come on, give us something. I say they're going to be 6-11.
Okay, I was thinking
I think
4 or 5 wins.
them and the Patriots are both probably going to be around 6-11.
I'm thinking 4 or 5 wins for the Jets this year. Yeah. So
worse than the Browns?
No. Well, no.
I think the Browns are 1-6 too. I'll give them one win.
Oh my God.
Somewhere. They do play New England, so I think that's their win.
Hey, there you go. So, but that does it for us this week as we wrap up. We'll not wrap up this series, but we have one more division to go through, and that is the AFC West, which I am very excited to do that because I think I got a bold prediction in that division next week. So stay tuned. Be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We appreciate all of the engagement, and keep it coming, man. We're okay. We got thick skin. This is sports.
Take it easy on me. I don't think I got enough airtime. Maybe my words are going to be misconstrued about Tua. But I will post some facts online, and then,
Hey, I do all the editing, so I'll make him look real good.
I'll get in the comments. Don't worry. I'll be in the comments.
Hey, we got thick skin over here, and plus the fact that it's football. We're sports fans. We're passionate. We're gonna give each other hard times, and we're gonna fact check each other. That's what we do as sports fans. So, but we appreciate you guys following us along. Hit that subscribe button. Follow us on all of the social media. We're on everything: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, X. But yeah, we're on all of that. So links are down there in the description below. If you want to check out the last episode, that link is going to be down there in the description below as well. So, but every Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be bringing you a new Beard Zone episode. Probably going to be dabbling into some fantasy here in the next couple weeks after our way too early predictions. So definitely stay tuned if you are a fantasy. Share this with your family and friends. And yeah, until next Friday.